Hey everyone, it's Kat and I am back today to test out a new release. I was set this in PR. Thank you so much, Hindash. You spoilt me. I'm so excited for this. So these are the new releases from Hindash Cosmetics. I have not even opened these. I've opened the box to be like, what is in this? But I have not opened the products. I don't know what the colors are. I've been so MIA with releases that I don't know what the lipstick color is. I have no idea. I'm excited to put it on my face. So this review is going to be of all these products. It's a new palette. There's an eyeliner, which I believe is a brown, a lip liner. This is like a shimmery liquid eyeshadow, I believe, because the palette is all matte. And we also have, I think, 2 lipsticks. So what I'm going to do over the next couple of days is do a few looks with these products. Today I'm going to demonstrate them on camera, so you're going to see me applying them, and then over the next couple of days I'll just check back in and tell you what I've used and what I think. So this is probably going to be like a 3-look review, but I'm super excited for this. This is actually quite a large release from Hindash because previously there's only been 2 products in his line. So we've got the Beautopsy palette, which is that ombre all matte palette, which is beautiful. I reviewed this and I really like the quality of it. And also Heroline eyeliner. So this is a liquid eyeliner, also really, really beautiful, really nice, high quality. I haven't used this on camera, so what I might do is demonstrate this in one of the looks, maybe tomorrow or the day after. I will be using this in this video. All right, the first product is, of course, the second palette. This is very, very similar in format to the Beautopsy, but it does have this soft, rosy sort of color to it and nice metallic pink writing. I do like how sleek these palettes are, and if you sort of line them up or put them on a shelf, you can see the name of the palette. It's very minimal, it's very sleek. I really like it. And similar to the Beautopsy, it is an all matte ombre palette. So there are 6 pans, but in each pan there's 2 shades ombre together. So depending on where you pick up the product, you can get different colors. I find that from experience, how I use these palettes anyway, I sort of find that I mainly get sort of 3 colors out of a pan. If you wanted to be a lot more precise, you can probably work the gradient a bit better than me, but I feel like, yeah, you can definitely get, like, for example, the light blue, the dark blue, and a mix of the 2 very, very easily. The next thing I'm pretty excited about, because I love a shimmery eye look, and my limitation with his first palette was that it was all matte. The second palette is also all matte, but because I love shimmer, I don't tend to reach for the palettes as much as I would like in theory, because they're beautiful quality, so I do like the quality of them. But Hindash has released a liquid eyeshadow in a shimmery sort of finish, which is gorgeous. And this is going to be the first of a few different colors. This shade is Boys Tears. I heard a few people say they didn't like the name. I don't really care, doesn't bother me, but this color is stunning. I haven't actually used it. All I've done is just swatch it for this video, but it's this beautiful sort of peachy nude base. So it's not like a frosty base, and it's got this beautiful sort of champagne cooler tone shimmer, and if you sheer it out it looks like micro sparkle, but if you build it up it looks metallic. I can't wait to put this on my eyes. I really want to. It looks amazing, and this is the type of product I can imagine myself using just every day for everyday sparkle. So this I'm probably most interested in. I'm also really excited for these Manifesto lipsticks. The packaging is really cool, by the way. It's very similar to the liquid eyeliner. It's this sort of ribbed metal. Feels nice quality, and I really want to try these out because I'm a bit of a lipstick junkie, and if he can do great things with eyeshadow formula, I'm hoping Hindash can do great things with lip formula. So the 2 shades available, there's Call Me Peaches, which is a mid-tone peach nude, and Rest in Roses, which is a universal cherry. I'll have swatching on the screen. You'll see the peachy tone is a little bit more opaque, whereas the cherry sort of applies sheerly, and you've got to apply a few coats to build it up. But I think that's done on purpose, because if you do sheer this out, it can be a really beautiful nude, whereas if you build it up, it can be like more of a intense color. And I know Hindash, when he did do a MAC maker collaboration and released a lipstick, he released a sort of shade similar to this but quite sheer, so it was supposed to be universal on everyone depending on sort of like how you apply it. So I feel like this is like an extension of that. Hopefully you can see as well on the screen. I did do a quick zoom in of the bullet before I swatched it, and I didn't put my macro lens on, so you can't see it super well, but There's a lot of like detail in the finish of this lipstick. It reminds me a lot of Lisa Eldridge, who has a really nice pattern, like a really fine pattern on her lipsticks, and also Pat McGrath does that as well. This almost looks like it's got a leather sort of finish to it, or like a suede sort of finish to it. So there's a lot of like effort and love that's been put into these. So hopefully they apply beautifully. Then we've got the two pencils. These are quite long pencils, which I'm happy to see, because if you like a pencil, you don't want to go through it super quickly. But there is the iTone pencil. This is a vegan slim wooden pencil with an extremely blendable, high intensity creamy formula in the shade Intra, which is a warm chocolate brown. And then there's Lip Tone, which is a lip pencil. Again, vegan slim wooden pencil with an extremely buildable, high intensity creamy formula in the shade Hush, which is a caramel nude. I haven't actually swatched these, so let's do a quick swatch. So beautiful. Oh, super, super pigmented and creamy. That's the brown. And let's see this. Yeah, this nude, you can see it can work with both lip products, just depending on like how heavily you apply it. Beautiful. All right, I'm going to insert some footage of the eyeshadow palette swatches, and then I'll get on to applying the makeup. All right, I'm just about to swatch these on my arm with no primer. I wanted to say I did put my finger in the pan quite a few times because these are quite firm. They're nice and finely milled, but they do, like there's not much kick up. They're firmly pressed. So that's probably why you don't pick up too much product on your brush, but it is nice and smooth and gives a beautiful finish. So yeah, I just wanted to describe the texture a little bit. I'm just going to swatch one and then swatch the other blended in, which is what I did with the first palette. You'll understand what I'm talking about, and it should give you an idea of how the colors mix a little bit. So that is very close to my skin tone, so it's hard to show up, but you can see it's a nice opaque swipe. And then from the other direction, I'm going to ombre the swatch, if that's possible. I might build that up a little bit. So that's Match, and this is Made. Again, it's very even, it applies really, really evenly, but not super opaque. So I'll build it up a little bit because this is supposed to be a bit of a darker brown. There we go. So smooth. You can see how they just transition beautifully. All right, this is the light pink, which is heavy. Again, very, very subtle. Build that up a little bit. Once it's built up, it looks nice and even. And this is Petal. This is Heart. This one doesn't need to be built up. That's quite nice opacity in one swipe. And this is Throb. See, one's definitely more orange toned and one's definitely more sort of cooler toned red. It's beautiful. Onto the purples, we've got Anti, just a light purple, and Dote. So one's a lot more sort of plum, one's a little bit more lilac or lavender, lilac. All right, last pan is the blue one. We've got Forever and Inked. I'll even out that ombre a little bit with the light blue. There we go. All right, I'm going to start with the eyes, and I'm using my Ela Cosmetics That's How I Roll eye brush set, and also my MAC Painterly paint pot just as a base. All right, with the big fluffy E21 brush from Ela Cosmetics, I'm just going to go in with this shade to set my base. I'm going to also put that in the crease a little bit. To be fair, this is my most exciting part of the palette. I don't really like pinks, don't use reds often, don't mind a little bit of purple, tiny bit of blue occasionally, but this would be my everyday sort of jam. So these two pans will be my main focus today, and then throughout the next couple of days I might delve into some of these shades to see how they go. All right, so just alter to set the base a little bit, just very, very lightly. Just with a smaller E22 brush, I'm going in with Ego, which is that nice sort of cooler toned crease color. This will definitely mimic a shadow beautifully. With these, look, it's going to be hard to tell with these two shades, but I do find that these eyeshadows blend really nicely from the past palette anyway. But if you do want to build up the color, you sort of have to start quite slow and then just build it up slowly. So these are quite soft but buildable eyeshadows, and soft in pigmentation. These aren't soft like they've got a lot of kick up, and look at the shadow there versus nothing here, just a bit of hoodie goodness. So yeah, these aren't soft in texture, as in like they don't kick up a lot of powder, they're not softly pressed. In fact, these don't have any kick up at all in the pan, and I haven't had any issues with fallout, so they're a very well behaved eyeshadow. But in terms of pigmentation, they're very, very soft, and what you have to do is sort of build on them. So they're definitely more of a, what I think is more of a like bridal makeup artist sort of formula, where you just start soft and sort of build up little areas instead of it just being bold and pigmented on the first application. So yeah, at the moment I've got just nude and that beautiful shadow, and you can see that that would just be like a perfected no makeup look. But I want to go in with Match and Made to add a little bit more color, and I love the sort of mustardy tones to this. I think it's gorgeous. So just on the same brush, I'm mainly putting that in the outer corner because I think I'll just be putting that shimmer topper on like the first half of the lid rather than the outer half. So I just want a little bit of something here, and that's a beautiful, if you've got like olive skin, this is a beautiful shade. I love it. I love it. Just going to run that on the outer half of the lower lash line using the same brush as well, but really lightly. So barely picking up any more product, just doing a little bit of sculpting of the lower lash line. All right, now I'm going in with this baby here, and I'm super excited. Look, I'm just going to specify and say that I've tried these sort of products from quite a few brands, expecting it to be like the most easy one and done shimmery eyeshadow that I can wear every day. So far, I haven't been super impressed. Like I've got one from Linda Hallberg, which is a gorgeous color, but it sort of looks chunky and creasy and not the best. So I'm hoping this is my new favorite best friend, because that's the kind of makeup I like wearing these days. So I have high hopes. Don't let me down, Hindash. Don't let me down. This has a texture that's a little bit slippery, like it's almost like an oil. So it's not like a mousse, which some other ones are like. This has a bit of an oil slip to it. And I did have issues before, not issues, but I did try to remove this from my hand when I was just washing my hands, and it did stay put. So I'm hoping it behaves and it lasts really well on my hooded lids, which tend to cause creasing and gathering with this type of liquid product. But I'm hoping for the best. I'm just dabbing this on with a E23 brush. I'm going to say that just on first impression, it is blending into more of a satiny basic shimmer. This is looking gorgeous and metallic, but I'm not going to leave it just like that. I'm going to see how it goes. I feel like it's maybe mixing with my base or my foundation, and toning down the finish. Also finding that it tends to set pretty quickly. I feel like this one already started setting when I was blending it out. So maybe do one eye and then blend, and then the other eye and blend. All right, so that is pretty much not done much. What I'm going to do now is just take some on the brush from the wand and see if I can sort of tap it on and get a little bit more control and keep that finish, because that sort of buffing technique sort of diffused it a lot, and it sort of mixed with the matte shadows and created what looks like, I don't know, just like almost like a matte base. This is much nicer. Okay, so directly on the brush and a bit of tapper, 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 if you want more of a twinkly effect. I think also if I was just using this directly on my bare skin, which is what I might do another day, I sort of feel like you could probably get the diffused sparkle without it mixing with like your base color or your matte eyeshadows underneath. I feel like this might be better just on skin alone. but it is very pretty. All right, I think I'm going to leave that there because I do feel like the more I build it, the sort of chunkier it's going to get. It looks beautiful and twinkly and smooth, but there are parts where I can see it sort of being layered on top of the powder and starting to look a little bit chunky, but you can't really tell because the finish is so twinkly. But when I get up close and I'm really looking in, I can sort of see a little bit of chunkiness with the base color. But again, the effect is gorgeous. I love this look. This is the sort of look I wear on a everyday basis, or let's be real, it's my going out look as well these days. All right, before I do zoom out and do the rest of the face, I want to use this eyeliner. Now I've got a sort of love-hate relationship with pencils. I like them on the waterline and the tight line, but on the top lash line, they're not my favorite. I feel like, yeah, gels or liquids often give me a better effect. So I'm going to use it, see how I go, but I'm going to use it on my waterline first, because if you've got a hard pencil and it scratches your waterline, it is not great. Or if it's so soft and so buttery that it just smears everywhere, it's not great as well. So I'm going to start there, but I love this color. This sort of brown is totally my jam. It's super pigmented and nice to get on. Whoa, that was really easy. Does have red tones to it. I think they're saying it's a cool toned one. Oh, warm chocolate brown. So they're calling it warm, and it definitely is, because you can almost see that it's got like a burgundy sort of tone to it. I feel like red tones show up so easily on the waterline because it almost makes you look like you've got some disease a little bit. You can really see the redness on the waterline, but whatever. I think it's pretty. Yeah, this is very soft and very pigmented. I sort of like something a little bit firmer to do my liner, but I can understand that this is probably one of those liners that you put on and then blend out with a brush, which is fine. That's what I might end up doing to get this nice and precise. E29 angle brush, I'm just going to blend that in. It is still quite creamy, so you can definitely maneuver it for a little while, which is nice. And again, you can see that warm tone coming out as you sort of blend it, but this is nicely behaved. Again, this is sort of just a step that I can't be bothered doing on a daily basis with a liner, but you can see how beautiful the end result ends up being. Like, it's just a really nice soft wing liner. All right, that's a liner, and before I put some mascara on, which would just be my mini Hourglass Caution Extreme Lash Mascara, whatever it's called, I did want to say that that sort of blending with a brush technique was great for this outer portion. Like, it was spot on, but I feel like where I hit the sort of built up area of that Boys Tears liquid shimmery eyeshadow, where it was sort of a little bit thick, that I was saying I applied probably too much of it. I found that it sort of, I couldn't get a distinct crisp line because whenever I went to blend the liner, it would sort of mix a little bit with the shimmery eyeshadow. I do have to say though, the quality of this eyeliner reminds me a lot of Victoria Beckham's quality. So it's very nice and soft. It's very, very pigmented. All right, mascara on, and this is a very pretty look. I love the tones of this. I think they're spot on. I think the overall effect is sort of really striking, but also not too over the top, which is what I like these days. I want some shape to the eye. I want some interest to the eye. I want some flattering colors, but I don't want anything that's too extreme. It's just not my lifestyle. I can't be bothered. I don't go anywhere. So what's the point? This is very, very pretty, and the tones work really nicely. So loving so far. And now let's try the lips. All right, before I do get on to the lips, I am going to actually put a little bit of an eyeshadow on as a blush. I am wearing blush today, but I thought let's put a little bit more on. I want to use from Heartthrob. So this part here, Heart, it's like a apricot shade. So it's like a dull red to a dull peachy orange shade. I am going to use a big brush. This is the Ela Cosmetics powder brush. But I did want to show that even though these pans aren't the biggest pans in the world, you can actually just tap that area and just get the one shade you want. So they're big enough and have enough space between the pans that you can pick up just the one color that you want, which is great. And let's just put a little bit of Heart on. Yeah, just adds a little bit of sort of apricot tones, which are really pretty. So There we go. Definitely works nicely as a matte blush. And also I didn't mention the eyeliner is also a matte finish eyeliner, if you didn't catch that. All right, I'm gonna use a lip liner, and I was thinking of going the nude, but I'm sort of feeling the cherry lip today. So that's what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna slightly line my lips. Hindash has discovered my weakness. I'm very bad at lining my lips. So I'm gonna probably do this sped up. You're not gonna learn anything from my techniques. They're bad. I never lip line except for if I need to correct something. Like if I've using a lipstick and I just couldn't get the shape right, I might go in and just sort of correct it with a lip liner. But that's all I sort of really do. So let's just pretend I know what I'm doing. Nice color though. What I can say is this is very nice and smooth. It's not too creamy that it smudges on your lips. It definitely holds the point, which is great because there's nothing more frustrating than a really smudgy lip liner, but it's also glides on. It doesn't require any scratching. Oh, just look. Goodbye, Cupid's bow. You weren't a thing today. Very pretty color. I feel like this color would go with a lot of lip tones and a lot of lipsticks. So I will be applying a cherry color over the top of this. So even though this isn't mushy and like really smudgy and creamy, like I was saying, it does deposit the color really nicely and it sort of glides on without scratching or tugging. So it's a very, very nice lip liner. All right, come on, Rest in Roses. Let's see how you go. So I'm curious about how opaque this is based on the swatch. So again, you can apply it really lightly for this beautiful sort of cherry nude effect. I love that. I think that's really beautiful. That's like a celebrity color. You would see people on the runway wearing this beautiful sort of red color, and you're like, I don't even know how to achieve that. I either see reds or nudes. You don't really see this sort of color too often, but it's really pretty and it's super sheer and it gives this sort of natural effect. I don't think you can see it properly in this light, but it's really nice. I can see why he's calling it like a matte balm, because it does feel like a balm and it almost looks like a blotted lip, but it has that sort of satin finish to it. I'm going to build it up a little bit so we can see where we go, but I really like that and it really complements the blush. I'm really digging this. I don't have any lipstick like this. When I usually have this sort of sheer formula, it's a very glossy finish. I don't think I have anything quite like this matte balmy sort of consistency. It's really, really unique. Yeah, so see if you build it up, you get a bit more red. I don't want to build it up too much though. I love it. I love this. I think this is, for me, the hidden gem that I've tried today, because I wasn't expecting to like this sort of rosy cherry tone as much as I do, but I do think it blotted down or applied in one coat is probably the most flattering. I think it'd be a beautiful nude on deeper skin tones, medium skin tones, but then it gives this sort of beautiful sort of flushed red color for people with lighter skin. And also you could probably use this as a blush. So dab it on and just sort of tap it in to make it sort of all look cohesive. I think this is really, really smart. I think this is a great lip product. All right, so what I'm planning on doing now is I'll check back in later if there's anything to talk about how these wear or any issues that have cropped up. Otherwise, I'll give you an update tomorrow on how this all went, and I'll also show you the next look, and I'll do a couple more looks. Also, I might do a little bit of research on these products and see what Hindash says about them. Usually I do that before these videos, but I really wanted to test these out without any prior knowledge because I just wanted to see if anyone who picks up these products, how they would use them and how they would apply them. But I feel like maybe hearing tips on how this liquid eyeshadow applies best might be a little bit helpful. So I might look into that tonight and tell you more about it tomorrow. All right, I'm back with look number 2. And before I talk about what I've got on my face, I did want to give some updates to how things wore, and I did watch Hindash's sort of introduction video about the collection. He did a demo. There's going to be more demos coming. I was mainly watching it to see the best way to apply the shimmer eyeshadow, liquid eyeshadow. There weren't many tips in this particular video, but maybe there'll be more to come. But I have sort of figured out how I think I'll be wearing it and how I'm wearing it today. It's fairly subtle, but it works. Firstly, I wanted to say that I'm still obsessed with this lipstick. This sort of matte balm tinted formula I think is really beautiful. I actually did post about it on Instagram and Hindash actually replied. This is the color he released in his MAC Maker lipstick, just in a formula that he really loves and wanted to create. So if you were familiar with that shade, which was supposed to be like a universal unisex shade, this is supposed to be the same shade, just in this quite unique formula, which I really love. I can't wait to wear this. I was thinking of wearing it today, but I'm like, no, give the other one a go. But this is like my secret obsession at the moment. After yesterday, I did go out for dinner, so I didn't really notice how this wore down, but it was very comfortable. And by the time I ate my souvlaki and my chips and my beverage, it was all gone. So look, it's not the longest wearing lip product in the world, but it's really, really lovely. The shimmer eyeshadow did actually wear very nicely. So did the eyeliner, so did everything else, nothing faded. Maybe there was a little like crease where my eyelid sits, but it was not noticeable at all until you like look and you pull your eyelid down. So there might have been a little bit of wearing down from the shimmer sort of topper, but it really wasn't that noticeable in the overall look. Today I'm wearing Call Me Peaches on my lips along with that lip liner, and I have to say that lip liner not only is a really beautiful sort of universal sort of nude shade, which you can wear it with rosy tones, you can wear it with nude tones. It's a really nice sort of sculpting lip pencil. I don't wear lip pencils often, but this is a really beautiful formula. The Call Me Peaches lipstick is a different formula to Rest in Roses. So this is more of just a bolder matte color. So it's more opaque, it's more matte. It doesn't have that sort of balmy feel. It is quite, I feel like it sort of reminds me a little bit of the MAC matte lipsticks, but less thick. So those are quite creamy, have a nice matte finish, wear really nicely, are quite opaque, but they sort of sit on the lips quite heavy. This feels a lot thinner. This almost feels a little bit like the Lisa Eldridge lipstick, but not as sort of powder dry when you first put it on. This has a little bit more creaminess to it, but it's really beautiful. And again, I love this color, this sort of caramel toned, peachier nude. I really, really love. Oh, and Hindash did say that of course you can layer and mix these. I think in his video he showed putting the nude one down first and then putting a little bit of the rosy color over the top, which I thought was a nice idea. He's sort of big on layering sheer layers to get beautiful effects. I don't have time for that, but if you wanted to give that a go, you can. And Hindash also said this is, the Rest in Roses is a lip product that he wears like on a daily basis. So if you put a little bit on, it just gives a beautiful sort of color and flush to the lips. So I'm still loving the lipsticks. On my eyes today, I decided to wear Antidote, which is the purple combo. I really love it. I'm not a huge everyday purple wearer. I love a little pop of purple, like a bit of plum with browns, but this sort of pastel color, I feel like it looks quite blue toned and bright in the palette, which I'm sure you can build it up to, or if you put it on like a white base, you can sort of get that real pastel brightness, but just sort of buffed into your natural skin color. It sort of gives a beautiful rosier tone to it, and it's very, very pretty. So easy to apply. This like blended itself, and all I really did was just start with the light shade and then just sort of work through to the darker shade and build up little areas, but I did it really, really quickly. Another thing Hindash said about this palette, which I thought was really cool, is that you can use these shades to mute down these colors. So if you do want some purple, but you want it a little bit more brown toned, you can always mix it with sort of these colors and it will tone down the saturation of it, which I thought was really smart. So that's how you can use it. Then this one. So I will zoom in and show you how it's applied on the eye today. I do have the Hero line on as my eyeliner. I find with this, oh, I'm also wearing it as a highlighter. So Hindash did say in his video that it's a multi-purpose product. You can use it on your lips, you can use it on your face, you can use it on your eyes. I find, look, when I was watching Hindash's demo, he did put it on a palette and use a brush. I think where I went wrong yesterday was I put it on my eyes with applicator, which isn't the worst thing. You can put it on with the applicator, but I put it on one eye and then the other eye, and by the time I got over to the other eye to blend it out, I think it had already started to set. And I feel like that's the key to this that I've been sort of noticing today. Even though it's got a very, very smooth, slippery feel to it, so it can like nicely glide over areas, it does set really fast. And you do want to put a thin amount on, otherwise it can look quite, not chunky, but like heavy on the eyes. So I feel like you have to put a small amount on and work with it fast. So put a little bit on, blend it out, put a little bit more on, blend it out. Don't just sort of put a lot on and then hope to get around to blending it, because it doesn't really work that well. And that's also the key to applying it on your face. It actually is a really pretty effect. But I found that by the time I was sort of finished buffing it in, it had already completely set. So you have to be really, really fast if you do want to put it in a larger area. I used my hand as a palette today, and I did wash my hands with soap, and you can see there is still some residual, so it is pretty budge proof. Once you've got it on, it's really hard to move it around. It's definitely not a cream. It's like a slippery, oily, wet texture that sets down. Yeah, small amount, blend, and then move on from there. That's what I think works best with this. All right, here's the eyes today. So again, I've just got the winged liner. I did put the brown eyeliner pencil on my tight line just to get rid of that fleshy line. It was very, very creamy and just like glided on really easily. But you can see how I've got that sort of twinkle sparkle going over the top of the purple. It doesn't look chunky, it doesn't look flaky, it doesn't look too built up, because I feel like less is more, and yeah, move fast and blend fast, but it gives a really beautiful just twinkle topper effect to the eye. So if you look at the pan, these look a lot scarier than what I currently have on my eyes. But since these are sort of designed to be a little bit more sheer and then you build them up, you can definitely have this sheer wash of purple, which is a really beautiful sort of romantic, cooler toned effect, which I think is really beautiful. And the lipstick gives a beautiful sort of blotted, caramel toned nude effect. It's just a really flattering lip color, except for my pimple. It's not very flattering. All right, I'm back with my final look for this video to let you know what I think about this new Hindash collection. So what I've done on my eyes today, I haven't put any of that shimmery topper liquid stuff because I wanted to focus just on this palette. Essentially what I wanted to do was try this section down here. It's not a section I use often, except for maybe an accent or an eyeliner color. So that's sort of how I used it. I did use it wet. You can see a little bit of the wet patch there. It's dried, but it changes the look of the surface just temporarily. So what I did was I set my base with this sort of area here. I put that musty shade all over the lid, the light blue in the outer corner and lower lash line, which I'll show you zoomed in very soon. It actually does mix to create like a nice sort of murky green color, which I quite like. And then I used this little wet portion to do a winged liner. Now I did try to do the winged liner with just the dry eyeshadow, but it just wasn't pigmented enough to apply a bold amount without it being wet. The good thing that I have noticed though, even though you can see the shiny part of the pan where I did put my wet brush, it doesn't seem to have sealed up the eyeshadow. So you can go in with a brush, pick up the eyeshadow, and it works like normal. So it does look slightly different, but it doesn't seem to affect the eyeshadow underneath. So yeah, that's what I've done. I also used Rest in Rose's lipstick on quite sheerly today. So this is more of like a blotted nude way to use it. I really like the texture of this sort of matte balm. I can't wait to see more shades in it. I do have to say that this particular shade, it's very, very pretty. I think on camera it's looking more pink. I find that when it comes to makeup, anything that's got a pink tone tends to look quite pink on me. So this might look quite nude on other people. On me, it still looks quite like cherry, but in person it's a little bit more natural, and it's a really beautiful effect. So I really do like this lipstick. And while I'm talking excessively about the lipstick, I may as well just conclude what I think about the lipsticks. Like I said, the balm texture I think is really smart, and this shade is really flattering, like it'll be flattering on everyone. Whether it looks more nude on you, whether it looks more rosy on you, I still think it's a really, really beautiful and smart shade. So yeah, unisex, universal, everything. I think it's a really, really beautiful color and I'm glad I have it. I also think the formula is a little bit more unique compared to what I've got in my collection. So it's quite an interesting lipstick. When it comes to this Call Me Peaches, I feel like this is a little bit more standard matte. It's a nice matte, don't get me wrong, but I feel like I've got quite similar things to it. Very pretty, love the shade, but it's not as interesting in my collection as the rosy shade. Zoom in and show you the eyes and then I'll conclude what I think about the palettes and move on to the rest of the makeup. But hopefully you can see that sort of light blue color. It was actually a really beautiful blue. If you had quite a sticky base or like a white base, I think it could look very, very vibrant. But again, it's one of those ones that applies quite sheerly. You got to build it up to get a bit of color, but it's a nice color blue. I find that these shades are all very flattering on me, even if they're shades that I normally wouldn't wear. You can see that blue, the dark blue eyeliner that I applied wet, it looks like a beautiful eyeliner. So it applied very nicely wet. All right, I'm just on the other side of the house in different lighting so you can see the colors a little bit better. You can definitely see the blue does pop even without much effort. Is just building up like a couple of times, and you can definitely see that brown and it transitions beautifully because these blend really nicely together. And then of course that wing, so that's probably more true to color than the last lot. All right, so I think the thing that I want to be realistic about is these aren't my colors. Besides the top two pans, I don't wear pinks often, I don't wear reds often, I don't wear purples often, and I don't wear blues often. So for me, this is a palette that normally I wouldn't be drawn to. If I didn't receive it in PR, sorry, I probably wouldn't have purchased it just based off the colors. But I do have to say, after playing with it, I get it. I think it pairs really nicely with the first palette. So if you do have the first palette, which is more of a sort of universal toned palette that has more shades that you can find in people's skin tones, this is a nice addition to it. It can sort of, you can, you know, for example, pair the gray with the purple to make like a smoky purple. But what I have noticed about this is that because of the formula and I think the shades chosen, these are actually very easy to wear shades. Even though I wouldn't reach for them on a daily basis, the purples were beautiful. And I would wear these more than most purples because I found that it just looked like a really, I don't want to say natural purple because that's probably the wrong term, but a really, really flattering purple. Even these blues, they look quite vibrant, but once you shear them down or you mix them with other colors, they end up looking a little bit more green toned, which on me anyway looks a little bit more flattering. So I feel like the tones are really smart. But one thing I really like about this formula is, again, it layers really nicely so they don't lift on each other. Other eyeshadows I've tried, you lay down a color, you pack on another color or try to mix it together and it just like lifts itself. It doesn't work together well. These all work together really, really well. So if you wanted to create like a purpley blue, you just have to mix in here and mix in here, maybe get a little bit more purple, and you could either layer them and they look beautiful on the eye, or you can create like a custom sort of periwinkle shade because they blend together perfectly, which I think comes from the fact that Hindash is a makeup artist and before that was an artist. You can tell that he's put effort into making these mix well, which means that there's a lot more versatility to this palette. So I love the formula of these and I love that you can layer and mix and you can sort of create custom colors very easily. They don't compete with each other. They just, it's like a palette of, well, it's a makeup palette, but it's like a paint palette where you can mix and create your own custom colors. And that's what I really like about this. And that's what I really liked about the first one. I also really love the formula. It's not going to be for everyone. People that love pigment like straight on the lid, they put it on, they're like, wow, it's opaque, they're gonna hate this, like absolutely hate this. But if you want a nice blurred out, flattering, diffused look and you can sort of control the color really well, this is the kind of palette you want to go for. If you like the sort of techniques that Hindash use, which is light layers and you build up light layers, this is the perfect palette for you because it's not that sort of makeup that you put your brush in a blue and then you're like, okay, I can't go anywhere from here because it is so blue that I can't sheer it out, I can't do anything. This is really sort of flexible makeup and I feel like this creates ultimately a more flattering look on the eye, and it's a lot more forgiving for like skin texture and wrinkles and all that kind of stuff. So I think this is a really, really beautiful palette, but I want to be 100% honest and say, I love these palettes. I'm glad I've got them, and I'll keep them in my collection for a very, very, very long time. But this color story isn't really my jam. This color story isn't completely my jam, and I love shimmer. So I do find that I'm missing shimmer in this formula, but I really respect the formula. And to me, these are sort of like staple palettes that if I'm going for, I don't know, a shimmery eyeshadow and I don't know what mattes to pair them with, I can find something in here or mix something in here that I know will look gorgeous. But these aren't everyday palettes for me. They're just lacking the shades I like to reach for all the time, and also a shimmer element. But that's where this product piqued my interest, because this is the type of product I would wear on a daily basis. I'm still playing around with this. I definitely think less is more, and you have to work with it fast. I love the color though. I think it's a really beautiful, neutral, shimmery shade. I just think it's very, very flattering and very beautiful. I love look at that, it's so shiny. I love the consistency of it, but I definitely think there's a bit of a learning curve with it. It looks gorgeous on the hand, looks gorgeous swatched. Just to get that effect on my eye, I still need to play around with it a little bit, but I really like this direction. I also think this is a smart way to add shimmer to the Hindash line, because I have a sneaking suspicion that creating a shimmer version of this ombre palette might be hard to formulate. So having a shimmer topper product and then the matte palettes make a lot of sense to me. There's also more shades of this coming. So yeah, I'm very intrigued by this product and I love the concept of it. This is my daily jam. I'm just finding at the moment, while I'm sort of getting used to it and figuring out the best way to use it, I'm finding that it is not as quick and easy as I would like it to be. So what I might do, if I do like a favorites video or a recap video coming up soon, I will update you guys on how I feel about this after I've used it more in my daily life, because I feel like there's a learning curve. And of course, the last two products are the lip liner and eyeliner, and I think these are beautiful and beautiful quality. Again, I just don't feel like these are things I use in my daily life, so they're not things that really resonate with me, but I can totally see Hindash all over these. The brown eyeliner, like he's notorious for using not only brown eyeliner as eyeliner, but also as like an eyeshadow base. So because these are so creamy and you can just put a little bit on and literally blend it in, it is like exactly the techniques that he uses. So that's sort of like in the outer corner, you build it up. So this formula is beautiful, pigmented, creamy, but again, for me, just as a normal liner, it's not really something I reach for on a daily basis, but I think it's a beautiful quality. And if you do like to use liners in a really versatile way all over your eye, this is a really nice quality one. And I definitely think this stands up to other high-end eyeliners that I've tried, so like Victoria Beckham, that kind of stuff. It's very, very pigmented, very creamy. Probably not the most budge proof in the world, but really beautiful if you like using a creamy eyeliner in those kind of ways. And the same goes for the lip liner. It's a perfect texture, so it's creamy and glides on, but it's not so creamy that it smudges and applies too much. But at the same time, it's not so firm that it's scratching your lips and you gotta like really work the product. This is such a beautiful, nice consistency of a lip liner. It's just really easy to use. You can do it very lightly, you can do it a bit more boldly, like the versatility is there. And the color is, again, really nice, sort of, it's sort of like a rosy caramel. It's like a mix between the two lipsticks, and you could wear it on either. So yeah, really pretty product. All right, so that's my review of the new Hindash collection. I'm loving this because I love the formula and I like the thought process behind the formula. I feel like it's sort of against the trends at the moment to go something subtle and beautiful and flattering, and probably universally flattering on all different age groups and whatnot. I feel like for the past few years it's been bold, 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 pigment, 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 and that's got a time and place, but I feel like these sort of more subtle buildable eyeshadows have a time and place as well. And I feel like that's a point of difference with this brand, which I respect and I really like. So even if the colors aren't 100% for me, or the products aren't things I wear on a daily basis, I really respect where it's going, and I'm really excited to see what comes out next. So let me know if you've tried these products, what you think about them, what interests you the most, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.